Welcome to Smoke Signals, everyone. I'm Matt Montgomery, along with head football coach and athletic director Wayne Coleman. Jacksonville gets a big win on the road last Friday night. And, Coach, you go over and you beat Mount Pleasant. I guess there's nothing like driving 2 hours and getting a win, because then you got to turn around and drive 2 hours home. So just a big victory for your team.
Yeah, it makes that long road trip on the way back much more enjoyable. It's been a tough year. The kids have battled. I'm really proud of the way they showed up Friday night.
You won the toss, you took the football, you went right down the field and scored, running the football really well.
Yeah, we did. We brought a little more intensity to that game. We were very disappointed in ourselves and our effort the week before, and our main focus all week was to play with great effort, and the kids came right out of the gate.
Well, we'll see in the highlights in just a moment, but boy, that jet sweep offensively worked well with Chris Carpenter.
It did, and we have not run a ton of it. We kind of caught Mount Pleasant off guard with it, and it took them till halftime to make an adjustment.
And once again, your defense stepped up and made some big plays, got some turnovers.
Yeah, that helps. It's been a while. They started out the year hot with the turnovers and kind of hit a lull, but Friday night they did a great job of taking the ball away.
This game reminded me a lot of the Palestine game, where you just pretty much from start to finish, the game was never in doubt. You kind of like took over, and of course that was another one of your wins in week 2 against Palestine. And it's hard to find that mixture, Coach. I mean, sometimes it's matchup, sometimes it's players making plays, but this was one of those games where it just never really seemed to be in doubt that you guys were going to push through and win this game. And that's what you did in the second half.
Yeah, you had that feeling early in the game that we were going to be a more physical team, the way we were running the ball up the middle, and the way the defensive kids were hitting. It felt like we were going to be in control of the game. It got close there in the second quarter, but the kids responded, and we finished strong.
And you were right about Mount Pleasant. Great athletes that they had on that football team.
Yeah, they've got some playmakers. Very hard to match up against them. They're going to make plays. It's just a matter of trying to limit those.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Jacksonville's big win over Mount Pleasant last week. Here's the 13-yard run, first of 3 touchdowns by Chris.
A lot of those are read plays. Tristan has to make a decision there, and he made a good one there.
And this is just a basic throw and catch to Chris, and boy, he just does something with it.
Yeah, Chris has been doing a really good job for us, and it's good to see a kid that shows up to practice every day and works hard have a big night like that.
And this next jet sweep for 61 yards, Coach, it just looked like the Red Sea parted and Chris saw it.
Yeah, he goes untouched. Good blocking, receivers, O-line, everybody did their job on that one.
Here's a big defensive play by Shiloh Kennedy. Not only strips the ball, but gets the fumble.
And Shiloh's done a really good job of that this year. He's been a ball hawk for us on defense.
And here's what we called our play of the game, because it really just came at a key time. Jalen Freeney with a 54-yard pick six.
Jalen has really been coming on late in the season. He started making plays at receiver, and now he's doing that on the defensive side.
And here's some improvisation by Tristan, getting out and finding Braylon Ryden for 31 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah, the main route was covered, and he scrambled and finds a guy open, finds Braylon. Braylon with another long touchdown reception this year.
And here is a physical run by Chris Carpenter, 54 yards.
There's some plays made here by Chris on this one. He breaks some tackles and then lets his speed take over.
I like the way he got behind his blockers there, and then Mount Pleasant finally got him down, but he wasn't going down without a fight. And here's this next play, Coach. I mean, you were really just trying to run the clock out, it looked like, and just trying to, and here goes Tristan for 34.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out a way just to get one more first down, and kids did a great job of blocking there, and Tristan made a good run.
Lots of big plays in this ball game. And of course, your offense has been a big play offense all year long, and you just wish that you could have maybe bagged some of those at key points of some of those other ball games.
Yeah, it's been kind of feast or famine with us offensively. We've had some big games, and we had some games we just couldn't get going. A lot of that's matchups, some teams play really good defense, and others are struggling right now for their defensive identity. And Mount Pleasant's in their first year of their new coach and trying to learn their program, so they'll be a lot better next year. And we just got to keep working on ourselves and try to get better every day.
Last thing about the Mount Pleasant win is what I noticed, where you really kept the 3 and outs to a minimum, which helps your defense.
It does, and whenever you're able to establish a run game, that really opens up a lot of things. If you can run the ball inside on somebody, It sets up your outside runs and it sets up your passing game. And so establishing that early in the game was key for us.
Well, the road-weary Indians are heading out on the road again to Lindale this week to finish up the season. Lindale Eagles are coming in a playoff team, Coach. They clinched a couple of weeks ago, I believe, and kind of got whacked last week by Pine Tree. My surprise, 56-21, but it just shows you this district, anybody can beat anybody. And I think a lot of people were shocked that Pine Tree went in there and put it on Lindale like that.
Yeah, they're going to be battling, trying to get that number 2 seed to help their playoff position. So they need this win. Pine Tree put up a lot of points. They had a couple pick sixes on them, so that made the score a little more lopsided. But for the most part, Pine Tree's skill kids, when they got in the open field, Lindale had trouble tackling them.
So their quarterback, Dylan Heinemann's back from last year, big quarterback, throws the ball well, and they got a sophomore running back he's pretty impressive.
He is. He's a big kid, 6'1", 220. He's a load, hard to bring down. And the quarterback's just a gamer. He's always right on his reads. They've thrown the ball much better this year than they have lately. So they're going to be a really hard team to defend.
Head coach Chris Cochran, same offense as last year. What will your defense do to prepare for them?
We're going to have to really be more worried about the passing game than we were last year. They ran a lot of quarterback counter last year, so we loaded up on the box. They're much more difficult, much more unpredictable this year. It's going to be a tough test for us.
Offensively, any changes? I mean, it seemed like you said last week the jet sweep hadn't been as effective as it was against Mount Pleasant. Are those the kind of things you're going to be looking to do, try to take Lindale to the outside?
Yeah, you got to keep them unbalanced. They're very disciplined on defense. Their kids are always in the right spot. Even last week when they gave up a bunch of points, they were just missing tackles, at the line of scrimmage. They had trouble tackling the Pine Tree running back and quarterback. Their kids are going to be in the right place. Can we make plays when we get there? That's what we've got to find out.
A lot of teams have been kind of laying back on because you've got such an outstanding receiving core and they can beat you deep. And that opens up the running game. Is that something you see Lindale doing? Not a lot of press coverage?
Yeah, I would think they're going to see if we can run the ball on them, maybe sit back a little bit. And we've got to go into the game and try to do what we did last Friday night. We've got to establish our inside running game and get our things going, and hopefully that'll set everything else up.
So what are the keys to the game that you think that your fighting Indians need to do to get the win?
Last week's blueprint of get some turnovers, establish the run to open up, some of the passing and the outside run. That's really a good blueprint for us because we've got some good skill players, and we just got to get our line of scrimmage established on the offense.
It's the season finale. Of course, the playoffs are out now with the way the district shook out. And I look back and I think it was the Nacogdoches game. If you win the Nacogdoches game, that could have maybe we'd be talking about a different situation here.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's hard early in the season whenever you're playing those games. You don't know which one it's going to be that you look back on and say, wow, if we could have pulled that one out. And it turns out it was the Nacogdoches game because it looks like they're going to get the 4th playoff seed. So that was a big game for us. It was back and forth, close game, and it's really kind of a microcosm of the season, to look at that and say, well, these are the things we didn't do right in this game. We didn't finish in the 4th quarter, and that ends up being the difference in a playoff team and not a playoff team.
Playing 10 games on the road like you have this year, what kind of effect do you think that's going to have on your team, say next year when you go on the road? Because there's a lot of these kids are coming back, and you only have 4 games on the road next year, 6 at the new Tomato Bowl. So is that any advantage you think when by playing so many games on the road to get your team more tested, if you will?
It's hard to say. Next year's team, we've probably only got 12 or 13 kids coming back from this team.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you got a lot of seniors on defense, particularly.
Yeah. So you're talking about 12 or 13 kids that played all their games on the road this year. Your JV team, the kids are going to be moving up. They had a bunch of home games up here at Cook Field. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about 12 or 13 kids that's an issue with. For the most part, we've battled pretty well playing all of our games on the road. I think the one letdown game, the game we're most disappointed in, is the Hallsville game a couple weeks ago. That one just didn't feel like we showed up ready to battle. What
do you want to get accomplished Friday night? Obviously, you want to get the win, but to finish up strong.
No, I think just feel good about yourselves coming off the field with great effort like we did Friday night. And the win was great Friday night, but even just the intensity our kids played with, you just felt better about yourself in the first quarter, about how our kids are going out there and fighting and not giving up. And that's what we want to do. We're playing a playoff team. We're playing a quality team in Lindale. And we want to go out there and show who we are, and we're fighting Indians.
Jacksonville versus Lindale at Eagles Stadium in Lindale will be on the air at 6:45 on 94.3 Real Country. I'm Matt Montgomery for head coach Wayne Coleman. We'll see you next time right here on Smoke Signals.